Okay, let's start the last session. We have two talks using taking advantage of the features of ML type system for library design. And the first talk, I can wrap in Hirosumi, and Hirosumi will give the talk.
Yeah, so my student was supposed to give the talk, but he's sick, so I'm going to give the talk on his behalf. So this paper was accepted for the OCaml workshop, but for some reason it's moved to this workshop. So please, understand the OCaml code. So the background of this work is a kind of very popular motivation. So we want to statically check the size, or the size, consistency of sizes, in particular in matrix and linear algebra computations. And of course, there's tons of work on that topic, and like dependent types, like dependent ML and ATS, and sized type. But generally, they require non-trivial changes to existing languages and existing application programs. Or you can use tricky type-level programming. And I heard that recent versions of GHC incorporated even some SMT solver into the type checker. But we want to use kind of simpler ML type system for this purpose. So the idea is what we call generative phantom types. And I'll explain them later, but so the features are fairly standard ML types. So it's almost standard ML types with a few extensions from OCaml, but it's almost standard. And also, we accomplish static size checking for most high-level matrix operations. So this work is supposed to be practical. So we allow some dynamic checks, especially for low-level operations, like index-based accesses. So we don't use kind of full-fledged dependent types. So we make some compromise. But for most high-level operations, like addition or multiplication of vectors or matrices, the checks are static. And the main goal of this work is easiness of porting existing applications. So most of the required changes can be made automatically or at least mechanically. So we don't have to kind of invent very tricky types or such things. So let me explain the basic idea first. So as usual, we annotate vector types and matrix types with size parameters, like this prime n is the size of these vectors, and this prime m and prime n are the sizes of the matrices, and so on. And also we have a singleton type for integers representing sizes. So the value of prime n size is supposed to be n. And it's enforced at type level or with some dynamic checks in some cases. And we call these type parameters phantom type parameters. And we instantiate these type parameters with kind of empty or void types, which we call phantom types. There's some confusion about terminology involving phantom types, so please just accept these definitions if you have another definition. So, and the main question is how to represent the type level natural numbers. And actually, we don't use natural numbers at type level. So let's consider this example. So suppose you have a function which reads a file and returns a vector read from that file. And we have an addition function for vectors. And then, so what happens if we load two vectors from two different files? So let's just use these placeholders for the sizes for the moment. Now, of course, these sizes may be different because they are read from different files. Or even if they are read from the same file, the file may be changed during the two rows. So still, these sizes may be different. So the point here is every time you call the Rosbeck function, the size may change. So every time you call the function, it returns a vector of a possibly different size. So for that purpose, we use what we call generative phantom type. So conceptually, it's kind of fresh type generated every time the function is called. And theoretically, it's a kind of existential type of this form. So every time this value, a type of this value, a value of this type is returned, this n is existentially quantified and may be different from each other. And we implemented this idea using OCaml. So here using fast graph modules, which is a slight extension to standard ML. But essentially, this is the only extension to ML module systems we have used. And so as we will show, we succeeded in porting a practical application programs using this idea. And so as a practical example of this idea, we ported major linear algebra libraries from Fortran, which are called BLAS and LLPACK, kind of de facto standard in this field. And there's already LLCaml binding, which is a kind of binding of BLAS and LLPACK for OCaml. But LLCaml is kind of conventional binding. It doesn't do any static size checking. So we kind of type annotated the LLCaml binding with the size information. And most high-level matrix operations are successfully typed with static size checking. And some functions needed dynamic checks. So like index-based access get and set, and some kind of subvector or some matrix operations, and certain kind of library functions, especially about workspaces. So the original BLAS and LLPACK libraries are kind of Fortran libraries with kind of very explicit workspace allocation. And for those workspace allocations, we needed some kind of size checking because workspace needs a certain size depending on the argument. And we avoided from doing complex type level calculation. So instead, we just adopted dynamic checks. But except for these functions, which are explicitly sufficed by dying, all the other BLAS and LLPACK functions are statically size checked. So for example, this is a simple example. So we compute an inner product of two vectors. So I think this is straightforward. Or here is a function called AXPI, which essentially computes this, so alpha times x plus y, and kind of destructively updates y. So this is kind of originally Fortran function, but anyway, so it's typed like this. So these are kind of simple examples. And so here are a little more complex example. So this function GEMM essentially, let's see, computes this. So alpha AB plus BC, but B may be transposed depending on the optional argument. So this is kind of typical BLAS or LLPACK function. So of course, by this transpose, we have to change the size information. So we express this kind of change of size information by these parameters, which, for example, this normal takes a matrix of this type and returns the same type of matrix. But this trans takes NM matrix and returns MN matrix, representing the transformation. And these parameters are kind of only for types and don't have kind of any particular operation. But for the sake of types, we express the transpose flags, so non-transpose and transpose and conjugate transpose, by these just symbols of these types, which are in OCaml implemented by just primitive variance. But any value is actually okay as long as these types are given. So the values themselves have just kind of symbolic meaning. So as a result, the GMM function can be typed like this. It's a kind of complex, but this trans A flag expresses the transpose or no transpose of matrix A, and this trans B flag represents the transpose or no transpose of matrix B. And then the entire function takes A of this type and B of this type, and it returns C of this type. So this kind of transpose flag is given this type and statically typed. And also, another complex example is discrete or contiguous matrices. So remember that this is originally a Fortran library, so they care about memory layout. And you can take a submatrix of an existing matrix. But of course, by taking a submatrix, the memory layout may become discrete or non-contiguous. And some LA-Pack functions can take only contiguous matrices and cannot accept discrete matrices. So we have to kind of distinguish these two types of matrices. And in some sense, discrete matrices are supertype of contiguous matrices because it's safe to consider contiguous matrices as discrete, but the other way around is unsound. So to encode this kind of subtyping into standard ML polymorphism, we can invented somewhat standard, it's also studied by previous work, but somewhat standard type level technique which uses these type parameters. And so when a function takes an argument, matrix argument, and if the function can take only contiguous matrix, then this specific type is required for the contiguous flag. And if the function can take both contiguous or discrete matrices, then it's polymorphic about the type of the memory layout of the argument matrix. And for the return type, if the function returns a discrete matrix, then it returns this type. And if the function can return, does return contiguous matrix, then it can be considered both contiguous or discrete because the latter is the supertype of the former. So the return type is polymorphic. So just by this kind of type level trick, this subtyping is encoded into ML polymorphism. Let's see. Sorry, I don't quite remember the dimensions. So by using these techniques, we gave size types to almost all functions of plus and LA-Pack via the OCaml binding. And we named our library SLAP. What's next? Okay, so as an application of this library, we also ported OCaml GPR, which is a machine learning library using the linear algebra library. So the application is again a library, but in this case, it's an application of the linear algebra library. So it's a library for something called Gaussian process regression. And it's also distributed with LLCaml. But so to check the practicality of our framework, we ported this library with the static search checking. So and the ported library is we call SGPR. So for example, here is a function calc_upper. So I'm not going into the details of machine learning theory, but so it takes these two arguments, returns a matrix. But if you give the size information, then the function can be typed like this by representing the size constraints of each argument. And so our point was we don't want to require too many changes to the applications. So we counted the changes we needed. And so we haven't yet implemented any automatic translator or anything, but most of the changes are, we believe, mechanical. So we did it just by hand, but they are pretty mechanical. And for example, in OCaml GPR, accesses to big array are syntactically represented like this, but because our libraries are just libraries, we have to replace these kind of syntactic structures by real functions. And also, as we explained, the transpose flags had to be replaced with some symbols of specific types. And of course, the types must be annotated with these size informations. So if there are some explicit type annotations, then we have to give the parameters. But these changes are essentially mechanical and could be automated. And the manual changes, so there are a few significant manual changes required. So for example, in some cases, let's see for this. So significant changes of the implementations inside the application were required. So for example, this function takes an array and returns a vector with a static size information. But of course, the length of the array is dynamically computed. So a kind of naive translation looks like this. So it takes an array A and computes the size of the array dynamically here, and then dynamically translate the integer into the singleton type size integer. And the size is packed. So as I said, it's kind of existential type value. So the existential package is represented by this first class module. And then we use the size value here to kind of initialize the vector. But, so this function returns the existential size, which escapes its scope. So this module n is locally defined, and this size has to be returned with the returned vector. So as a result, the type escapes this local module, which is not allowed in OCaml. So unfortunately, this doesn't work. So we developed two solutions to this problem. One is a kind of easier solution, which depends on dynamic checks. So we give the existential size information from the outside to kind of avoid the escaping. So we have to give this n from the outside of the vec over array functions. And then we need an extra dynamic check, which should be unnecessary, but we need this dynamic check so that the given argument n indeed corresponds to the size of A. So this is kind of syntactically simpler, but requires an extra dynamic check. And the second solution is more kind of theoretically natural. So because this is an existential package, we return the existential package. But that's syntactically heavy in OCaml. So conceptually, this is theoretically the simplest solution, but syntactically heavy in OCaml. So just ignoring the syntax, it's returning the existential package. So there are pros and cons for the two solutions. So we can use both solutions in various places, depending on how the syntax is heavy or how the dynamic checks are trivial. So I think there's some kind of trade-off between the two solutions. Okay, so this is what I said. So how many times do you see how?
4 more minutes.
Okay, so this is the table of change required for kind of all the changes. So we counted this by doing some kind of hand counting with some comments. And as I said, so in lines of code, there are many changes, but most of them were mechanical, we claim, and could be automated, we claim. And the significant changes were only almost a few hundred lines out of 6,000 lines, which was feasible for us. And okay, and unfortunately for us, we couldn't find a bug in the original LLCaml implementation. It's well debugged in the first place. But we still believe that the static size checking is useful. Of course, conceptually, they can detect errors earlier and at higher level. I think that latter point is very important because if you have dynamic checks only, then you may get dynamic error deep inside a low-level index-based like get or set function. And you have to really trace the call stack, the entire call stack, to get to the real source of the error. But if you have type information, then the real error could be found on a higher level. And also, during the porting, of course, we had to change the code to some extent. And the static checking really helped to tell us what we have to change. So if we change a single type annotation, then of course the type checker tells us which else had to be changed. So it was really helpful for ourselves. Okay, so to conclude, so we did the static type checking and simple static size checking with a little dynamic checks, which we think is practical by using generative phantom types, which are essentially existential types. And the porting was easy. And everything is published on the web. Okay, thank you very much.
Time for a few questions. Yes.
Have you considered using GADT for this purpose? I think that should make the syntax significantly lighter.
Yes, we think so. So we just wanted to kind of keep the work stick to the standard MM module system as possible. So we just avoided such heavy extension of OCaml, but we could, I think.
You have to decide between the heavy extension or the heavy code.
Yeah, okay, it's kind of very subjective matter, but we try to stick to a standard MM module system as possible. Just a philosophical reason.
Was there any linear algebra function that was especially challenging to type using size?
Yes, yes. I think the student prepares some backup slides, but it's, okay. There are complex things like, for example, so one was the transpose flag. So this is kind of, you may think it's funny, but it's standard in Fortran. So by using the flag, AB or BA changes, the order of multiplication changes. So this is requires some level of type trick like the transpose one. And also, let's see. Okay, I'm not going to explain the details, but there are kind of very specific functions which does this in one function. And we had to do kind of some dynamic checks and some complex type level annotations to type this function. So I'm not going into the details, but there are very complex functions in the library. You can see all the kind of complex things in the online documentation.
Any more questions?